for rebuilding railroad lines and switches, for moving utilities, constructing new traffic arteries, building 5 new viaducts across this proposed floodway. To accomplish all this, 21 million cubic feet of earth would have to be moved. But the visionary George Kessler predicted that a great new industrial area will rise from this reclaimed land. Which brings us now to 1928, the year that Industrial Properties Corporation was founded. What was life like in these United States 70 years ago? Well, the hit song of the year was When Whippoorwill Come, and Even Is Night, My Blue Heaven. On Broadway, Showboat was a smash 70 years ago. And at the movies, there was something brand new. The movies didn't just go, they talked. The movies could talk. It was an election year. And with Dallas County's help, Herbert Hoover beat Al Smith. See, President Calvin Coolidge had decided not to run that year. So there were 2 new guys. Does anybody remember what Calvin Coolidge's nickname was? Silent Cal. Silent Cal, because you couldn't get the guy to say anything. He avoided a lot of trouble that way. Once there was a dinner party at the White House, and this lady was sitting next to him, and she was just gushing and spewing, man. She would just, oh, Mr. President, I have a bet with my husband. He bet I wouldn't be able to get you to say 3 words, but I told him I could. And Calvin said, you lose. Here in Texas, our governors, Ma and Paul Ferguson, could have learned a lot from the silent Calvin Coolidge. If they'd have kept their mouths shut, they would have avoided a lot of trouble. Matter of fact, the only quote that anybody remembers Governor Ma Ferguson for concerned bilingual education, because back then, 70 years ago, like now, bilingual education was an incendiary topic. And you were either really for it or you were really against it. Well, Ma was really against it, and she was quoted in all the Texas newspapers as saying, quote, if English was good enough for Jesus Christ, it's good enough for the children of Texas. Things haven't changed that much, have they? Well, she was defeated by Dan Moody. We also had 4 candidates running for Senate that year. For a Senate seat, we had 1 candidate each from the Democrat, Republican, Socialist, and Communist parties. Now, there are some in this room who would say we still have socialists and communists running for office, but today they're called Republicans and Democrats. Texas oil was flowing at Spindletop and Big Lake and Yates No. 1, but liquor was not flowing, at least not legally in those Prohibition times, although there was a rumor that when the beer baron Adolphus Busch built the Adolphus Hotel, he put tunnels down to the Trinity, and he could get restocked with beer barrels whenever he needed more beer. Also here in Dallas, the new owners at Sanger Brothers. Do you remember Sanger Brothers? Whatever happened to them? They didn't make it to this birthday, did they? Well, they slashed their sales force, and in a bold move, Neiman Marcus hired every single one of those laid-off workers. The tallest building in town was the Magnolia Oil Building. Does anybody remember Magnolia Oil? Whatever happened to those guys? Anyway, they built this building, and just to make it a little taller on top, they put the neon-lit horse Pegasus, the winged horse Pegasus, and you could see Pegasus for miles around, and people over in Fort Worth said, yeah, Dallas is a one-horse town. The population density in Dallas was 10 people per acre, but it was growing. R.L. Thornton of the Mercantile National Bank, whatever happened to the Mercantile National Bank, was made president of Industrial Dallas. With a war chest of $500,000, he began courting business and industry to come to Big D. And over a 4-year period, 1,000 companies, businesses, relocated to Dallas. Well, all those businesses had to have some place to go. So it looked like George Kessler's vision for the future for this industrial district, it looked like it was going to come true just immediately. With Leslie Stemmons as president, Industrial Properties Corporation was founded. Hopes were high, dirt was flying. But before anybody's dreams could come true, reality crashed in, or actually it was the stock market that crashed. in the Depression that followed, the new Industrial Properties Corporation almost didn't get off the ground.